Will you just fuck me?
Will you read the book?
Put your balls in my mouth.
Hello everyone, you are on the channel Rewatch. In this video, I will tell you about the 2016 movie called The Late Bloomer. Peter Newman's a 27-year-old psychotherapist who specializes in sexopathology. He has written a popular book about sex not being necessary and suggests reading it to his client who has a very difficult case. On top of that, Peter is thinking about a new book on a similar subject and taking notes everywhere with his ideas on his pocket recorder. Upon returning home, Peter finds his friends Rich and Luke in his living room. The guy gave them the keys to his apartment so that his friends in difficult cases would have a place to spend time. Luke was abandoned by his life partner Rachel, and at home everything reminds him of her, and now he is looking for a new love on a dating site in a phone application. Peter invites Luke, abandoned by his girlfriend, to a party with a girl next door, Michelle, with whom Peter is secretly in love. The guy refuses because his goal for tonight is to break the record on Tinder. Rich was tired of his wife and kids, so he just decided to hang out with his friends. Leaving his friends alone and arriving at the party, Peter is met by Michelle's friend, named Nikki. She is jokingly offended by the man for not bringing a lonely, handsome friend as promised earlier. Peter then meets Michelle in the kitchen, tasting the dish she has prepared, and advises her not to waste her talent on the guests, because with her abilities, it is possible to become successful in the restaurant business. A nice conversation is interrupted by a very busy Michelle's boyfriend Charlie, who cannot be distracted from work even in his free time. This greatly disappoints the girl. The next day, while visiting his parents, Peter once again endures passive aggression from his father, James. The man does not understand how you can write about sex without having a girlfriend, but the mother, on the contrary, is proud of Peter and believes that he is a kind and good boy, simultaneously harboring hopes that he will finally settle down. Peter dates his boss, Caroline. The woman happily reports that Peter's book continues to gain popularity. The therapist was invited to a Ned's Talk conference and a radio interview. Thanks to this, Caroline and Peter will be able to announce themselves and the clinic to millions of people. Before reaching the house, Peter finds a separation of Michelle and Charlie. The guy decides to lend a friendly shoulder and console his neighbor. During the conversation, Michelle collects his thoughts and decides to become a chef. On the basis of surging emotions, she hugs Peter, after which a long-awaited kiss for the guy is born between them. Michelle apologizes, feeling guilty, while Peter leaves due to a sudden headache. The next morning, Peter's friends try to get him out of bed to play basketball. Peter refuses due to a prolonged headache, but after the persuasion of his comrades, he agrees. On their way to the basketball court, Luke and Richie hint to Peter to use Michelle's breakup with Charlie to finally get going. Girlfriends Michelle and Nikki, meanwhile, discuss Peter. Nikki confesses that she considers a neighborhood psychotherapist to be anything but not the good guy he pretends to be. But Michelle, on the contrary, is sure that Peter is simply not like all men. The girl feels safe with him, and besides, he did not use her kiss to sleep with her. For Michelle, this is a very good sign. While playing basketball, Peter gets hit in the groin with a ball and passes out. In the hospital, after the examination, the guy is informed about the presence of a tumor in the brain. It puts pressure on the pituitary gland and does not allow the body to produce testosterone, so the guy has problems with the development of the penis. To the surprise of the doctor, Peter reacts very optimistically to this news and even says that this is the best day of his life because he always considered himself a freak and could not think that it was possible to fix everything. And now he has a chance to become healthy. Peter shares the news with his friends, who in turn are perplexed why the guy did not go to the doctor earlier. Peter admitted that he was afraid of losing hope. The guy has a tumor removed through his nose after being informed that he will soon begin to notice changes in his body. The operation is successful. Peter's mother conducts a spiritual ritual with her son to stimulate his masculine begin. After that, Peter makes his unsuccessful attempt to get horny by looking through a magazine of girls. Luke and Richard visit Peter soon. Friends listen to the grief of a comrade because he has no changes. The guys do not want to leave their friend and bring the stripper girl, Montana.
So, Montana, do your thing.
All the efforts of the girl are in vain, since Peter did not feel anything new. Peter is cheered up by Michelle, who decided to find out where the neighbor suddenly disappeared. After a short chat, the psychotherapist falls asleep and in the morning does not notice his changes which he showed up to his parents. Delighted by what he saw, Peter runs away from home without even having breakfast because his father advised him how to score a goal in the gates as soon as possible. Arriving at his home, he runs around the house in search of something that will help him calm down. As a result, Peter managed to find vegetable oil. The guy begins to have fun at the first convenient opportunity. At some point, this begins to bother him, but Rich and Lou calm their friend with stories from their teenage life. Peter runs into Michelle. The girl shares the good news. She's leaving in Santa Barbara to take part in a cooking program. Peter is very happy for Michelle and hugs her, but because of the tension in his pants, he quickly leaves the neighbor. In the clinic, it begins to seem to Peter that every woman flirts with him, and when talking with patients, she fails at all, because now Peter is completely imbued with the sexual stories of his wards, which prevents him from concentrating on work. In the morning, Peter notices acne on his face, which causes him to refuse Michelle's invitation to breakfast. Appearing to the doctor, Peter asks for help because due to the too rapid puberty process, he is angry, constantly excited, and very restless. The doctor assures that masturbation must be waited out and nothing can be done about it. In the evening, Michelle licks in on Peter. The girl is sure that the neighbor has begun to constantly avoid her, and also soaks out general changes in Peter's character. The guy promises to talk about everything with Michelle immediately after her return from the cooking show. While playing with his neighbor, George, Peter gets a call from Michelle. She says that she has become the favorite of the host of the culinary program, because of which Peter becomes jealous and stops the conversation, promising to call back later. George noticed Peter's jealousy, but the man began to deny everything. The next day, during a radio talk, Peter is unable to finish his thought on the book due to strange voice problems. After the performance, the father tells that his voice began to break down and that, like everything else, you just need to wait it out. In the evening, during a conversation with Michelle, Peter breaks down on her after once again hearing her reviews about the host of the show, and out of an unfamiliar feeling of jealousy, asks her not to call him again. The next day, Peter takes revenge on the basketball court and, thanks to his testosterone, beats those whom the trio could not beat before. Having coffee with George, Peter receives advice from his underage friend. Michelle is probably an experienced girl and Peter should not screw up with her in bed, so the therapist needs to gain personal experience, which, as a result, Peter does when dating different girls from the Tinder. A few busy days later, on his way home, Peter runs into Michelle's ex-boyfriend Charlie, who has come to apologize to his lover. Frustrated by the absence of the girl, Charlie asks Peter to inform the lady of his desire to talk to her. In the evening, Peter is distracted from thinking about his new book by the sudden appearance of Michelle. A girl holding Charlie's bouquet mistook it for a gift from a neighbor. Peter is silent that the flowers are not from him, and having gained courage, invites Michelle on a date, completely forgetting about the promise to his friend Rich to sit with his children while he celebrates his anniversary with his wife in an already paid expensive hotel. Peter does not keep his promise and the friends quarrel. Before he leaves, George advises Peter to be brazen as the girls like it, and Peter is admonished. At the restaurant, Michelle did not like the antics of the guy, and she wants to see the old Peter, having started a date all over again. Rich and his wife suddenly show up at the restaurant. The table at which the couple is having dinner was previously booked by Rich. The guys quarrel again, but Michelle decides to leave, not wanting to see a changed Peter. In addition, she found out that the bouquet actually belongs to Charlie. The next day, Peter succumbs to a charming client that Caroline notices.
I'm not going to apologize because I enjoy having a cock in my mouth.
The woman makes it clear that because of what happened, the clinic could be in big trouble. The guy was on the verge of being fired. Upset, Peter visits his father and shares his problems. The man, wanting to support Peter, assures that everything the guy goes through is normal. The main thing here is only how he will correct his mistakes. Peter takes the opportunity to ask a question that has worried him for most of his life. Next, the psychotherapist, who all his life was sure that sexual energy can and should be directed to something more useful at one of the conferences, completely refuses all his words, thereby causing a storm of applause. Showing up for Rich's daughter's birthday party, Peter apologizes to him and his wife for his behavior. After being forgiven, Peter learns that Michelle won the cooking show. Rich's wife advises the guy to go to his beloved and apologize like a man. Peter decides to take this step and goes to Michelle's restaurant. The girl was with Charlie. Peter made an unsuccessful attempt to talk to his lover and decides to leave. But Luke and Rich do not let Peter out until he fixes his relationship with a girl. The guy decides to tell the whole truth about his puberty and about the recent operation, because of which the man began to undergo strong changes. Having begun to understand everything, Michelle finally breaks up with Charlie and Peter kisses the girl. After at least a year, a pregnant Michelle with Peter's parents supports the guy at the presentation of his new book. During a family conversation, the girl declares that she will become the best mother in the world, and the movie ends there.